Hey everyone, Erica Rock, Spiritual Catalyst, here to discuss spiritual protection or not feeling like you need spiritual protection. This has kind of been like a age-old debate, if you will. And so I just want to share my perspective because I've gone through different phases of my awakening and my spiritual journey where I really felt like I needed protection, and then at other times not so much. And then the kind of protection that was working for me would change over time. We have to remember to be flexible because where we're vibrating at today is a lot different than even where you were at 2 weeks ago. And so our needs, our spiritual needs, can change. And that's such a big thing that I have been taught, is to remain open and flexible, because my protocols that may have worked just yesterday may no longer work, and I have to up level my protocols. And then at some stage you just don't need a lot of protocols. It really depends where your frequency is at, what your vibration is, where your level of consciousness is at. And beliefs also come into play in this as well. So, for so long, I did not use any protection. And I actually found that when I went to cast a circle, put myself in white light, use geometry, crystals, various things, the protection didn't seem to work. And it used to really upset me, because all these other people around me are using, white light, gold light, silver violet fire, wearing like a flower of life or a Metatron's cube geometry, various crystals and things. And for me, it wasn't working. And finally one day, I sat still long enough to ask why. Why are these things not effective for me? And the answer that I received was because I'm bringing in this protection from a level of fear. I was in a place that whatever was out here was dangerous, was out to get me. There's monsters chasing me, and I'm in this place of trying to put on protection, but I'm vibrating fear. And so from that place of fear, nothing was working for me. And the interesting thing is, we especially want to bring in protection when we are afraid. That makes sense, right? And I've also seen people, so this was my experience, but I've also seen people have a fear of certain energies, negativity, toxic people, entities, things like that. And they were in some fear, but their protection worked. But we're all on a different journey. And I needed to learn the way I needed to learn. So yes, protection can work, even if you're in fear, depending on what you're here to learn. I wish I had a straight answer for you, but I don't. We're probably gonna zigzag a bit around. So I haven't had a lot of teachers in human form, but the ones that I've had have been like, oh my God, my deepest gratitude for them. And one of my teachers really was, her stance on the whole protection thing: you don't need it, step into your power, own it, own your light, own your power, remain in love, in a space of love. And that is your protection. And for her, that worked. Now, as I've observed her over the years, her thoughts about perhaps needing to bring in some protection did change. Because she started to have experiences where what had worked for her wasn't really working for her as well. This is also a woman that really is like in this place of love. And she was initiating a student, and the student's face morphed, and she saw a demonic entity that was possessing this woman. And she just smiled even wider to this being. And actually seeing this being, there was no fear whatsoever. The smile on her face grew, her heart opened even more. It was just all love, 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 love. And the being left. So that's interesting. I have had experiences with various beings, demonic, extraterrestrial, where I could be in all of the love in the world and I got smacked around energetically, so to speak. So, you know, we all have these different experiences. Honestly, what you feel you need and works for you is what works for you. Some of us really are kind of have a lot of like shamanic energy to us, and you know, our eagle feathers and sage and Palo Santo, frankincense, myrrh really acts as protection. Shields, various shields can act as protection and work. A lot of it does have to do with what you believe. Again, with shamanism, they bring in their animal totems that are highly protective. The wolf, the jaguar, the panther, the bear, you know, various spirit animals protect. I've had a wolf a part of my team for a really long time. And as I've evolved, even more animals have started to come into my field and walk my earth walk with me. And they're very protective. For some of us, using white light or holy white fire, silver violet flame, gold energy, various colors, black. Actually, black is like amazing. If you're a high empath and when you leave your house and you feel like you're really impacted by other people's thoughts, feelings, energies, vibrations, you end up absorbing some of it like a sponge. Black. Black is so highly protective. And actually, depending on the day, every day is different. And so in the morning, I do my protocols and different things come in on different days, and it's always so perfect. Black helps you be a little more invisible. People don't see you. Like you can walk around and you're invisible. People don't see you. And other beings don't perhaps see you, because one thing I have seen is as we up level, we become super shiny and bright, and it attracts attention of certain beings that their agenda is to try to hinder as much as they possibly can our growth, our ascension, our awakening. So you up level and they're like, The next thing you know, you're having these experiences going, this is crazy. This is so crazy. So I've seen that. I feel like I've seen it all. Yes, light geometries. Geometries can be amazing. If we have some Reiki people out there, the chokere is super protective. And I had like this beautiful experience with the chokere in dream state one night. It was shortly after I had been initiated and started to learn the symbols. In dream time, there was this man chasing me. You know that, the chasing dream, right? Like an animal's chasing you, an invisible force is chasing you. some human that you have no idea who they are chasing you. And you feel fear and you're running and you try to hide, and no matter where you hide, they can find you. I was running, and then all of a sudden I got like mad. I'm like, no, I'm not going to run. I'm not running. And even though I was in fear, I turned towards the person, being whatever that was chasing me, and I threw. Choker rays came out of my palms, and when it connected with that person, they froze. They couldn't move. And I could go off into the sunset without them pursuing me anymore. And I woke up and I was like, oh my God, wow, that's amazing. I've had dreams where I'm being confronted by some darker force energies and beings, and all of a sudden I went into my pocket and I pulled out my keys, and I pointed the keys, and this huge bomb of light came out of the keys, and when it connected to the being was engulfed in this light, and their eyes got big and they disappeared. Dream state is such a fun playground to explore your power. So geometries, Chokeray, Metatron's cube, golden flower of life, the seed of life, even just a very simple sphere or cube, triangles, Merkabas, star tetrahedrons, all of these can be really effective. I think part of it is, what do you resonate with? What's your jam? Maybe it's herbs. Herbs or various incense. Again, shields, animals, colors, which I've already spoken about. It really depends, what's your thing? Or it could be, some people wear a cross and the representation of the Christos, Jesus Christ. That feels protective. For some, it's various goddesses. So like Kalima, Lilith, God. I mean, we could just get into that forever. But various gods and goddesses can be our protection. Sometimes we want to just call them in, like the Archangelics. Archangel Michael, so famous and known for protection. So it really depends. And I wish I had a clear answer about, do we need it, not need it? I've just found that it really depends on where you're at, what you believe. I mean, I used to be in a place and space where I really was afraid of various beings. Like, I was really afraid. My spiritual journey started when I was 6, and my father let me watch The Exorcist. I was sitting so close to the TV. She might have been she just could have been right in our living room. And the trauma from watching this and the energy that comes out from that movie blasted me open. So I had an awakening through trauma, which can happen. Blasted me open. I had huge gaping holes in my auric field. I started to have remembrances of past lives where I actually have been a priest and did exorcisms. And I was terrified. And I slept with crucifixes under my pillow and crosses above my bed on the wall. It actually launched me towards the light, towards the Creator, the Infinite One. And it was so there was a huge blessing, but it was also very traumatic. And it took me years to unfurl that trauma. And now I can sit and sit and connect with various beings. I do a lot of entity releasement, demon work. I have a friend that calls me the demon counselor, the demon therapist. Just the other night in session, I had this Draco reptilian that showed up because this person I was in session with has a huge life mission, and his life mission and what he has come here to do is really goes against the agenda of these beings. And so there's been some stuff happening, but this one being was very different than other Draco reptilians I've come in contact with. And it was very highly intelligent, very conscious. And I had huge compassion because the thing with these particular species, they can no longer procreate. So they're really interested in how they can shift their DNA, and all of that. But what was so interesting is it wasn't one of those Draco reptilians that's like, you human, you maggot, I stomp you, you know? Have you met some of those? I've met some of those. And the things they can do is just like mind-bending. But this being was different. And we had a meeting there, a peace treaty was agreed upon. It was huge. And I walked away hearing the reason why you came into contact with this being instead of some of the ones that you just can't, it's very difficult to come to any sort of agreement. They're not interested in a different way. But I was told where you're vibrating attracted this being that you could have a meaningful conversation with that was open to other solutions that their race is facing, instead of just this big spiritual war, which I was kind of expecting would happen. And in that moment, my protection was calling on the one that answers our prayers and saying, please have my back. I didn't feel like there was a color or a geometry or a shield out there or a crystal that was going to help. I just needed to go direct to source. Please keep me protected. May this session be peaceful. I knew what I was stepping into. So, it so depends on the situation. And again, be willing to change up if you are doing protections. As much as possible, try to come to erecting your protections from a place of empowerment. Kind of like, if I could use this metaphor, if it's really cold and it's negative 10 degrees, you want to grab your jacket that is going to protect you from the cold as much as possible. And I'm sure you've got a whole closet full of different protection, but if it's negative 10, you're not going to put on a rain jacket, right? So I encourage you every day, really tap in, what is it that I need today? Because guess what? The one who answers our prayers, the one infinite creator, knows what's coming in the hours ahead in your day. And you might even be guided if you start to really open and listen and tune in and slow down. That's critical. Slow down enough that you're always being updated about what perhaps you need as the day goes on. And perhaps you need 4 to 6 different things throughout a day. And I have found that when I'm more flexible, I really tune in, you know, if I'm going to leave the house, because I'm in my own sanctuary here. There's a force field around my home. Nothing's getting in here. And if something does come in, it gets really uncomfortable and either alchemizes, because energy cannot be created nor destroyed, only transformed. So either the energy transforms or it leaves, because it just cannot hang. But when I'm leaving my secure little temple, my home, and I'm going out into the world, I check in. What do I need right now, if anything? Oh, I'm going to this meeting. I'm going to be in a group of people. What do I need, if anything? And since I've been doing that and really being conscious and slowing down and checking in as one experience shifts into another throughout the day, and usually what I need is different almost every time. Things have calmed down so much. So, to protect or not protect. And I do feel like the pure essence of who we are, which is love, is an amazing protection in and of itself. It just depends on what we're interacting with. So I would love to hear from you. If you have any protocols, things you do that you have found to be really effective to protect yourself from taking on other things, from things perhaps attaching to you, please share in the comments below. And if you know someone who might need this information, please share it with them. I always appreciate that. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. So thank you for connecting in, tuning in, and listening to this. I know that the share was a little all over the place. Welcome to my mind. So love you all so much. Huge hugs.